The penis is like, it reminds me of the Seinfeld thing. It was Elaine, I believe, on that show who once said, the difference between a woman's body and a man's is this. A woman's body is a work of art. A man's body is like a Jeep. It's for getting around. And there's a little bit of truth in that women are beautiful, even when they're not. There's still plenty of beauty in them. Also, they are the finish line. The prize of life. Every man will tell you, life was a mess until I met her. They're the prize of life. You're also the gatekeepers of sex. It's power, which will create interest. There's also the keep it covered up, which will make people want to see it more, which you would think would lend itself to the penis too, but it doesn't seem to really do that. Women seem to be, by and large, less visual than men. They're still visual, because you got to be over 5'10", don't you, ladies? Yeah, you do. Don't want no short king, do you? Nah, can't have a short king. So they're visual, for sure they are. Men are more visual. We're also just waiting to be put in the game by the gatekeeper of sex. Do I get to go in the inning? Come on, this seventh inning stretch. Do I get to go? Do I get to go? Do I get to go? So, of course, we get doled out sex like, I don't know, somebody giving you pills 2 a day. No more. You'll get addicted, right? Like, that's how men get doled sex out. So at the end of the day, there's going to be created interest there. There's a difference between a woman taking her boobs out and a man taking his penis out. There is. Should there be? I don't know. But you know there is. And I didn't make it that way, and neither did you. So we probably don't got to get all mad at one another about the fact that that is true, right? This is one of those, don't kill the messenger, baby. I'm just here to tell you that's the reality of the situation. It is a different thing. Women are encouraged to take their tops off because it's fun, it's sexual, and it looks good. Even women who like looking at a penis, it's still like, oh, dude, that thing doesn't look like it goes here right now. Everybody's complaining about prices of everything. Pick up $1,000 to help you afford whatever it is you're looking to pick up. That keyword at 9 a.m., we'll get that passed out. There are hot button issues in this country. You used to hear this all the time. Don't discuss politics or religion at the bar. It feels like a lot these days, those are almost the only things we talk about. Now, it can be tough because politics goes into everything. So it is hard to avoid. Religion would maybe be a little easier, although restricting of behavior, and I don't know if you should do that, and this and that, right? I mean, it kind of, morality codes are, a lot of them are pulled from religions. So I guess that would make sense too. Inside of those, there are subjects that are like, what's that? Oh. Abortion's a big one. Don't worry, that's not what we're talking about right now. That's a big one. So big that apparently certain people don't get to have an opinion on it because they can't get pregnant. You don't even get to have an opinion. That's how hot button that issue can be. We get to tell a certain group of people, you don't even get to think anything about it. Bonkers. Again, don't worry, we're not going there. But there's another issue that gets people hot and bothered. Firearms. Guns. I've been turned around on this. I used to be a lot more anti-gun than I am today. I used to use arguments like, you really think you're going to pull the thing off the waist and handle something if something goes down? But we've seen more than a few of those. More than a few. You don't hear about all of them, and I think it's, and I hate saying this because it makes me sound like one of those, but it does kind of fly in the face of the good guy with a gun narrative, and they don't always love telling you that part, right? But those do happen. I am a gun owner. Living in Oregon kind of turned me around a little. I was surrounded by 2 towns that had abolished the police forces, not because they thought police were evil or racist or anything like that. They just couldn't afford them anymore. I know it doesn't sound like America. That's going down. We timed how long it took to get from the police station to our house. And my brother told me then and there, just so you know, you're dead on the living room floor by the time they get here. You better learn to pull that thing off that shelf and handle it. So I view my gun ownership like that. I have it because they're available and somebody else might. It is not part of my personality.
They will cash out.
You know, I kind of get on the weed people about the tie-dye, right? And the open-toe shoes. Like, come on! Right? I get on people about it. Because I think that they do marijuana a disservice. Some people, I'll underline it again, some people can be guilty of that inside the firearm discussion. Where it's like, I'm not sure you're doing your group any favors here. I worry that that's what this story right here is. I'm being told that an ammunition dealer, looking to make it a little easier and I suppose more convenient for you to buy ammunition in this country. American Rounds is the name of the company. Makes all the sense in the world when you start talking Second Amendment products, right? It's like, get the American flag in there, get America in there, get the USA, get it in there. Makes all the sense in the world. This says they're bringing, but they've already brought, is the reality, 24/7 vending machines that are stocked with ammunition, and they're placing them in grocery stores across the country. They already have a few. I believe Alabama and Oklahoma, they're already up and operational. The quote is, quote, you can buy ammunition on your own schedule, free from the constraints of store hours and long lines. Well, if that's the case, that would say to me that you have it placed outside of said establishment, not inside of it, because if it's inside, I would still be constrained by the store's hours. So my guess is outside. Not surprised Alabama and Oklahoma, you were able to find a couple of retailers who were like, yeah, you know what? Go ahead. Right? I think you're going to have a harder time with getting these put up in other areas. So far, the vending machines, which require you to show an ID, that part's good. I like the fact that I have to show an ID there. I wish I had to show an ID more places, but I guess we'll get there, right? But I'm okay having to show an ID. You must be at least 21 years old to use it. And they, again, have already been placed. This says in multiple grocery stores across Alabama and Oklahoma. But again, if I'm not constrained by the store hours, then it would have to be outside, and then I would be able to pull up and it would be there, right? Kind of like a red box was outside, right? That's kind of what I would see. Apparently, according to American Rounds, the kiosks will use facial recognition software, and it verifies who you are. A lot of people are going to push back against this, don't want ammunition sold in grocery stores, and I can even understand that sentiment. I can get it. As a pro-gun person, I can understand that argument. My pushback is less facial recognition software, less of this, because it's going, I worry about all the stuff that's coming down the road. I know I'm a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist when I start talking about the tech and taking over and freedom going here and this going there, and yet every couple of years somebody will text in or write in and go, yo man, I gotta tell you man, I kind of think you're nuts, but like kind of nailed that one right there. And unfortunately with the facial recognition and the AI and all that stuff, when by the time you're out to tell me I'm right, it's already too late. It's already too late now. Which I guess is what's going to make somebody tell me, then what are you crying about it for, bitch? If it's already too late, then just brush your hand. Just because we have something doesn't mean I want more of it. Hey man, I got a little VD. Can I have some more? You don't want that, right? Like just because you have something doesn't necessarily mean you want more of it. I'm fine with more retailers selling ammunition.
I thought you were not.
I don't like more facial recognition kiosks being put up for any product. Beyond that, who is this for?
They paid this oil, yeah.
Seriously, who is it for? If I asked any gun owner I know, enthusiast or not, and I asked that person right now, how many rounds are in your house? They're going to know. Most gun owners will tell you, dude, I won't even sleep at night unless I know I got X. I have 275 rounds in my house right now. That's what I have. At my disposal, I should say. Do I want more? Will I be acquiring more? Yes. Absolutely I will. Better safe than sorry. For sure. Might I lay there dead if somebody kicks in my door, even if I have my gun? Maybe. But I'm giving myself that fair shot at it now. You do what you want to do. But I'm giving myself that fair shot at it. I'm still a little uncomfortable with ammunition vending machines at grocery stores. And I know, it's a legal product. So is pornography. But I don't want the vending machine at the end of the grocery store belt either. Welcome back to the Stansbury Show. Looking to play some golf with you guys for the Stansbury Cup. That on the 24th. We'll be at Raintree Golf and Event Center. You could be too. Get your team signed up today, WRQK.com. There's also a link at the Facebook page, The Stansbury Show. You can grab that there. We have been talking about American Rounds, an ammunition company that's starting to roll out ammunition vending machines. These already in place at some grocery stores in Alabama and Oklahoma. It seems a little weird to me to put an ammunition vending machine in a grocery store. It's not necessarily the first place I think about that. However, mass collection stores, term I probably just created, there's probably a better, big box, right? That has become very popular. Back in the day, you would be in the back seat of the car with your mom or your dad, and they had to stop at 11 different places. You would think to yourself, God thanks, we're going, what's going on? And they had to stop 11 places to get everything they need. Now you go to one place, get it all in one. I was at one of them yesterday. Everything I could need for a month is in that. So I guess I can't. Also, we've seen other retailers more known for other items that have gotten into the firearm, shotgun sales, and the shells and the like. So I guess I shouldn't be all that shocked by it. I don't know if I love it. However, I don't need to love everything. You know, my comfort level doesn't decide everything. Now, what some of you just thought is this. Finally. 25 years he gets it. But I said it because I feel like we all need to be reminded that our comfort level doesn't get to decide everything that happens. It's just the reality of it. Here comes that phrase I use. Turn it into a drinking game, can't you? Freedom is messy. Your neighbor has it. I don't know if I love this. But again, I don't know if I need to love this. Now, the vending machine, for anybody that wasn't with us in the prior conversation, it would require you to show an ID and at least be 21 years of age. They already have some of these in grocery stores. It says in, across Alabama and Oklahoma. Now, the reason why I paused there is because in the first part of this, it tells me that they want to make this ammunition available to you so you can shop on your time, right? They're going with the convenience angle. Whenever you need it, you come and get it from us here, use this vending machine, right? Well, it tells me I'm not constrained by store hours, which means then it's not in the grocery store, it's at it, right? Like red box outside of it. I would kind of think that that's what they're doing, right? Doesn't necessarily feel like that fits, but the only reason it doesn't feel like it fits is because it's new.
Is this the same that...
And anytime something's new, it's like, I don't know about that. I asked the question heading to the break, who is it for? Because any gun owner I know can tell you exactly how many rounds they have. They're not like, gee, I wonder if I have any at the house. Let me swing by the vending machine just in case. As a matter of fact, I told people how many rounds I have in that conversation. All the texts that came in on the text line at 330-450-7625 are from people giving me their number. So again, who's it for? I feel like this is, we're going to make some people upset, so the name American Rounds gets spread around as far and wide as humanly possible, and that's okay. Welcome to advertising. That's how it works. Create a little bit of a stir. Now everybody's talking about you. I get it. Been guilty of it myself. I get it. Totally understand it. Now, I didn't think about this as I was complaining about the fact that it uses facial recognition technology. I said, that's mostly my problem. Screw what's being sold out of the machine. I want less of that. Because I worry what's coming down the road with more facial recognition. The computer knows whether it's you or not. The computer knows about whether or not you got cancer. The computer. It's like, dude, I don't know about all that, right? I worry about it. Now, Jason says, all right, hear me out, Stansberry. You go into more and more stores, everything's behind the counter already. He says, give me the store that's all vending machines. The entire store. Take all the employees out of there. Just give me the general maintenance people. That's it. Make everything vending machine related. Well, I want to laugh and call you crazy, but the problem is that's literally like a benchmark in every future you're going to eat the Neo white slop out of the machine movie, right? Like that's literally everything that happens in all of those movies. And as more and more cabinets are locked in stores, I would imagine you're only going to see more of it.
It's a sweet chili.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably right about it. You know, for years and years, I was this guy. Don't make me show you my receipt when I'm walking out of the store. I hated that. Could not stand it. And I kept saying, you're begging me to shop online with practices like this. You're begging me to put you out of business here. And I still think there is a point in that. However, I've become a little bit more of a loyal shopper at a big box store. That requires me to carry a card to get in and out of there. And yeah, I had to wait behind 3 other people that had their receipt checked yesterday so I could get out to the parking lot. And did I get that little Stansberry anger pissed on me when it was happening? Sure I did. Then I reminded myself, my comfort level doesn't decide everything. Using a little patience here isn't the worst thing in the world. And beyond that, you walk around in there, everything's on the shelf. Nothing's locked behind the counter, or at least nothing I've had to purchase from there. And outside of the usual, dude, that's a $3,000 computer. It's not just going to sit on the shelf, right? But people thumbing through all the clothes yesterday, looking for this, looking for that, everything fun. You know what else I don't see in there? Mass brawls in the goddamn aisles. I don't see that there, which is another reason it's like, dude, you want $130 a year? Here you go. Because I don't want Fight Club in and out of the damn store, right?
Like, see, at my age,
and so all of a sudden it's like, you know what? That's not a bad system.
I mean, at age 30,
if the rub of that is here's my receipt, then fine.
I already
here's my receipt. The problem was the places before that gave you all the fights in the aisles, all the locked cabinets, all this, and then still wanted to see my receipts. Like, screw
you should be proud of.
Like, this experience is awful here now.
And
like,
especially here, you've started your own business.
I'm looking for. We got a little sidetracked on the story and versus the ammunition. But if I'm still getting everything I'm looking for, and it's like, all right, man, I got to wait another like 30 seconds to walk out of this store again. Oh my God, how important is my day? You know what I spent my day doing yesterday? Reading what I was going to talk to you about, and then, all right, screw it, I'll watch more TV.
You're using
at the end of the day, it's like, I probably got the minute or two
certificates
to show
and
some
stuff
patience and stand here in this line.
Yeah, I mean,
I can take Jason's
before I start to get before I get married, at least I already helped my brothers, my
vending
sisters,
machine
my
society
nieces.
for most products.
So,
which I think
like
ultimately only leads us to more and more home delivery.
They will not say to me that
which I, of course, have been worried, not that this will happen, I'm just worried that it could.
My mom.
When there are no more retailers to have your fights or steal everything
my mom needed some.
then it's just our houses, right?
But now because
like,
it's, you know,
I'll tell you what, can I have
my
the
money is short.
vending machine in my driveway now, please?
Take care of everybody.
Rock the bank at 9 a.m., grab that first $1,000
You can't lay it all on
keyword,
yourself.
Pay off a bill, put it in the savings.
I mean, I know it doesn't work out that way, but
9 a.m. I'll rock the bank. We have been talking about ammunition vending machines because American Rounds is starting to roll them out at grocery store locations. I did look up one of the videos, and sure enough, at least one of the locations I was right. It's actually outside of the grocery store, not inside of it. Because again, the company release said we want you to be able to buy your ammunition outside of store hours and constraints yourself. I said, well, then it's not in the store because they're not going to let me walk in there at 2 o'clock in the morning and just, I just want to use this vending machine. I promise I won't steal the milk, right? Like, that's not going to happen.
Sister, they're helping.
And so, sure enough, I looked at one of the videos and it's, hanging out outside.
If they have,
and we've been talking about this, and look, I always pause when I go to say things like I'm a pro-gun person because of how that conversation gets had in this country.
Yeah.
You know, I try not to be a billboard of anything of my hobbies.
Because
you know, like I'm a marijuana person, but like, you know, I don't really go out of my way to, you know, Birkenstock it out and like all that. It's just not who I am, right?
Everything that I'm gonna say
not everything
to
has to be my identity. It could just be something I enjoy, and that's kind of how I view, you know, the gun thing too. Where it's like, man, yeah, safety, little home protection. It's not my identity. I'm not, you know what I mean? I don't make my whole world about it, right? Not that there's anything wrong with people who do. I'm just telling you where I come from. And we've been talking about it. I said, I don't know if I love the idea of ammo vending machines. And Jason brought up the point. He's like, look, man, he's like, I think we're headed for more vending machines for all across all products. He's like, more and more things locked up in every retailer. You know, we talked about that anyway. Mark is a guy who listens to the program quite a bit.
Like looking there,
and he will write in
before
multiple
I buy
times a week,
something that
and I'm
wants a
appreciative.
cloth there.
This is just kind of know, there are listeners who I have not met who I do know better than some others because of how often we will talk online. There's like 25 people. I'm like, yeah, I don't know him. Oh, her I know a little. Right? There's like that. Where it's like, there's like an inner sanctum circle that's like, they comment a lot, they're in a lot, so I get a little bit of an understanding of who they are.
I love
so I would have known that Mark was a conservative before he told me because of the conversations we have had. But I thought his comment on this was pretty interesting.
It's just like twisting in my
stands behind him and says, hell yeah.
You know that?
I think that's interesting that a guy who who refers to himself as a conservative, views it that way. Because I gotta be honest with you, that is what I thought first when I saw it.
Can you get quickly to stop here, sweetheart?
When I saw they were going to do this last night, that's exactly what.
Yeah, I know the time.
And I gotta be honest with you, the analogy I had was going to Florida in the back seat of the car for the family vacation. I was stuck back there with my older brother.
I'm gonna see something.
He would stick his finger an inch away from my face. Quit touching me. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. I'm allowed. I'm not even touching you. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Why are you freaking out? Why are you getting so mad that my finger's 2 inches from your face? That does kind of feel like one of these. What? We're allowed. We're allowed. What? We're allowed. You know, you will tell your kids all the time about things. Just because you are allowed does not mean that you should. And this does kind of feel like one of them. And much like I will get on the tie-dye people and the Birkenstocks about the marijuana, like, quit making our fight harder. Some people inside the gun thing, I think, make their own fight a little harder. It's why I'm always saying, dude, groups are tough, man. You don't think I want to be in more groups? You don't think I want more people, right? You don't think I want a little bit more community and connection? But the problem is you have to take ownership of everything that happens inside said group. And that's where I'm like, I don't even like taking ownership over my own behavior sometimes, man. Now I got to be backing up everything this idiot over here is doing? No. Thank you. I'm good on that, right? And that's why I kind of stay away from the, I may vote this way, but it's like, you're not getting me in the, I'm a registered blah, blah, blah. No, I'm a registered independent. You will fight for my vote. You want me? Come show me how bad you want me. You don't just get me because you're not the other guy. So dumb. I mean, just so dumb, but let's not get sidetracked. I guess I'm a little relieved. Because more and more of the conservative side of my audience, which I'm not going to lie to you, it's sizable. You know, when you have an audience, and thankfully that's as large as this one, you are going to have large portions of both. For sure you will. So I have a large portion of people squarely in the middle who feel like they are not represented. We don't have to get, into that whole thing. But I think it's interesting that even the conservatives who listen to me daily are like, man, I got to tell you, dude, I don't know if I love this, man, because it just is going, this is like driving past a Mothers Against Drunk Driving meeting with a bottle hanging out the window. It's like there's a little bit of like, dude, this is taunting. Again, I just said it. I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you. It's taunting a little. Free country allowed, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you know what else you're allowed to do in a free country? Make things easier on yourself. Right? Like you're allowed to do that too. And I think that there is a little bit of an issue here. I took this comment and I understand it, and I think a lot of people probably feel this way, so I want to address it so we get as many points of the conversation involved as humanly possible. Somebody said this is just another way they're going to try to track gun owners and try to track who's buying what and this and that. Always buy ammunition in cash. Okay, I understand the sentiment there, and I am a person who would like to see cash stay part of our payment systems for products. Not gonna, but I would like to see. But if I walk into a gun retailer and put cold hard cash on the barrelhead and buy those rounds, I'm on video. So I don't know, I mean, it's essentially, I mean, it's not facial recognition video, but if the cops go in there and say, hey man, we can trace this back of this and there, we need to see sales from the last blah, 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 maybe I've seen too much Law and Order, but like, I mean, I'm going to be standing there with my big ugly ass in the center of that surveillance video, ain't I? So I don't know if the cash thing really, the tracking and this and all that, I mean, what's really the difference? There's very little chance you're walking into a gun store today and not on video while you're in there. Very little. Beyond all of that, you know why I don't like the ammunition vending machine? I feel as if the gun store is one of the very last places where when I go in there to buy something from there, the people working there actually know about it. It's not just Billy who needed a job after school. Like, they actually know what they're talking about in there. And since they have expertise in it and I don't, and the severity of the product, I like going in, shaking the hand with the dude or the woman and saying, I have a question about this. Can you tell me? Now go do that when you're trying to buy a 4K TV and tell me who knows what. At 10 a.m., Teresa will pass out another Rock the Bank $1,000 keyword. I just passed mine out. Right there. Another opportunity at 10 a.m. We do them every weekday, pretty much all day. And I get you started every weekday morning at 9 a.m. What you and I had been talking about is American Rounds. They're an ammunition company looking to put more and more vending machines for you and I to buy ammunition at. They've started with grocery store chains. I believe it was Oklahoma and Alabama, which I know people who are anti-gun are going to go, oh, of course, right? But like, well, yes, of course.
Still have more
you know what I mean? Like, yes, you are going to go where your customer base is going to be more likely to be okay with what you're doing. That's, of course, where you're going to start. As of right now, they don't have any stores in Ohio. We've talked about this a little bit. You know, a couple of different times now. Plenty of conservatives have reached out to me and said, and Mark was one of them, said, dude, I feel like this is just trying to like kind of antagonize the other side, which only makes the conversation more heated in the lane. You can text in at 330-450-7625. That number is also callable as well. Stansbury Show, who's this?
Hey, Stansbury. Hey, this is Tim. Hey, a couple things about this ammo thing.
Sure.
I think maybe the vending machines would be okay in a 24/7 store with security.
Okay.
And because these crazies, if you put one out at the you know, in the grocery store in the parking lot, these crazies are going to be like the ATMs and ram
that either. And I am worried about that. Again, because it's not just about breaking into the machine on site. It's like, no, you just break it off of its base, get it into the bed of the truck, and then we can get it back to wherever we're going and then try to get into it. And you're right. I'm okay if anybody wants to buy all the ammo you want. I don't feel as comfortable with a thief looking to get his hands on as much ammo as he may want. That is a little worrisome, I would agree.
Oh no, that's craziness. Because you know what? Eventually, I think ammo is going to become currency.
It's hot inside.
Oh, that's interesting.
Way down the line. Way down the line.
That's interesting. That's not necessarily a crazy take. It's made out. I mean, there's metals involved there. It's also going to become more and more valuable because safety is going to be a big concern down the road, as it already is. I got to tell you, man, you kind of freak me out. I don't know if I'm comfortable with that, but I think you could be right.
I've been buying ammo for 40 plus years, and it just continuously goes up, you know, and yeah, if paper money goes out, then ammo is going to come in. So
well, the more paper money is taken away from society, the more people will look to barter amongst one another. Absolutely, I could agree. And ammunition is going to be important. It has historically been important, right? So I don't think it's going to become less important as time goes on. I didn't think about it that way, and now, Tim, I think I won't be able to stop thinking about it that way, man. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it.
Well, I get it, man. I just keep buying and buying. So if I need something, I can barter. Right on.
I appreciate you, man. Thanks for the call, dude.
Yeah, good deal. See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
The currency angle is interesting because I think people are right about some of their suspicions. I think that what could be possible is when we erase completely the ability for me to pay you for a service, babysitting, cutting the grass, whatever. But all things are cyclical, and bartering has been all around the world forever. And I think he could be right. Actually, depending on which ones you buy, will go up in value. I own a couple. You will never see me put one of those on my wrist and wear them. I like watches. I bought them because of everything that's used to go in them, or used to make them and goes into them, right? And people have taken a bath on stuff like that too, right? There have been baseball cards that were worth a ton of money, and then you missed the zone of when you should have sold it. Now it's not worth as much, right? So, like, I think that's, but a payment system between us that kicks out the elites, which, by the way, you notice the president started to use the word, the elites are out to get them now. It's funny how that's an acceptable thing to say. Anyway, let's not get sidetracked on that. But I do think bartering could come back to society.
Wild animals.
I don't think it's necessarily the worst idea in the world. Wouldn't it be a little bit better if you knew how to do something and so did your neighbor, and you just went across the street and said, hey man, I'll blacksmith this for you if you do this for me? It might not necessarily be the worst thing in the world. And I do think ammunition could become more valuable than it even is today. I don't necessarily, all right, I would not take all of my money out of NVIDIA today and put it into Remington, right? Like, that's not, I wouldn't necessarily do that. But at the end of the day, that's not necessarily crazy. If you're looking to diversify and spread some money around in a couple of different things, I don't think ammunition is a terrible place to take a gamble on.
How do you feel on the times that you've been from? We travel together, riding the bus.
If you're looking to play some golf with me, you can do that on the 24th for the Stansbury Cup. Your team can get signed up today at WRQK.com.
Did you fall in love when you first met?
There's a story that comes out every year, and people get all up in, in anger about it.
I showed you the picture.
What?
The Super Bowl halftime show. Now, this is ridiculous because we're still a little ways away from it. Yes, football going to get started here just over a month or so. Fine, whatever. But, like, come on. We're talking Super Bowl. But the rumor mill got started.
What?
And usually with this, where there's smoke, there's fire. Because I remember it was like, hey, man, the rumors, it's Rihanna. It's going to be Rihanna.
What happened?
The rumors are Rihanna. And then it was
I showed you that picture.
And now we're told that the
I can't.
For the next Super Bowl halftime performer will, in fact, be this young lady right here. Miley Cyrus. Now, I want to defend it. Because I want to say things like, well, we know how this works, though, right? Like, the football fan is watching the game no matter what. So what the halftime show is really about is the fact that the Super Bowl is an event at your house.
We were facing each other in front of the aquarium.
That's not where that goes. And you're kind of having people over at
That's when you fall in love with me?
Right? And so the halftime show is more just about a spectacle.
You didn't believe me.
That other people can take a part in, right? They're there for the chips and the dip, not necessarily the game. The Super Bowl is an event, and this is one of the reasons why. Because they turned it into an event. That doesn't just happen, right? Beyond that, more women are football fans than this country has ever wanted to admit. Ever. Still, to this day,
I had my cowboy hat on.
Than we've ever wanted to admit.
How do you feel?
Now, this is anecdotal. I can't say this is all women, but my dad's mom, my grandma, was the biggest football fan in my entire family, men or women. One close. She used to bring David and I down here for the Hall of Fame induction, all that when it was on the steps.
Look
at this yin yang.
Grandma Joe, baby, she was into her sports, right? Loved it. So it's not uncommon.
Crash, bro, if you want to go viral.
But I'm willing to bet she probably liked a different pop star of the day than maybe her husband did. Right? And there is some crossover. Plenty of guys are into artists like Miley Cyrus. Dude, have you heard, by the way, if you like pop music at all, and this is going back years now for Miley, if you've never heard that album, Bangers, let me just tell you, it's appropriately titled. Mike Will was in his bag on that entire record, dude. He gave her, I mean, so many good tracks. I mean, she killed it. Bangers is, in fact, stacked with bangers. That's what it is. Like, the woman is pretty good at what she does. But she does feel like an afterthought right now. She doesn't feel hot right now. So everybody always says, it's not for the football fan, it's for the casual football fan and, like, the woman at the Super Bowl party. So I was like, all right, let me go down the hallway here. So I grabbed one of the salespeople who works here, a young woman, I guess. Well, I don't know, she's around my age, whatever. And I was like, hey, does Miley get you all excited? I was like, are you pumped about that? And she was like, no. I was like, no? She goes, no. She's like, she doesn't really feel like the thing. What she said is she doesn't feel big enough for the Super Bowl. And I was like, oof. Don't tell anybody that, man, because I said that last year about Usher and people lost their minds because I reminded Usher doesn't have a ton of hits. He doesn't. Usher has 3 hits. They were massive hits, but he does not have 20 songs the way people think he does. He just doesn't. You go back to that performance last year, by the 3rd song, everybody around the country was like, what the hell is this? Right? Like, because nobody knew what it was. Like, Usher has 3 big songs. Doesn't have that many. And that could be true of Miley. I just defended the album Bangers. But so many of those songs are album tracks and were never released, and most people don't know them. They're good, but they're not hits because people don't know them. To me, I think the NFL is in a tough spot here with the Super Bowl halftime show. Less and less artists are going to want to be doing it. You're only criticized for accepting it or not doing it well enough or this wasn't good enough. It's a lot of pressure. A lot of criticism comes with it. So I think you're in a tough spot there. Beyond that, this was the problem with the Taylor Swift fandom sweeping the NFL. There was no other problem with that. Showing up to football games wearing jerseys, there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. The 40 seconds they showed her on the screen, could you please not melt down, Mr. Tough Alpha, because they showed a woman on a football game for 40 seconds? Could you please show us how manly and how alpha you are when you cry about it like it's just a reality? I have suggested a band before because people are always on the when we gonna get a rock band, when are we gonna get a rock band, when are we gonna get a rock band. And we looked this up last year, and it's been a good stretch since you've had a rock band. It is. Now, that's partially rock music's fault. But again, it's also society's fault. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, careless, that whole thing, it ain't in vogue, man. We're socially conscious now, baby. Are you enjoying yourself on planet Earth? What about the person who died, Stansberry? We're kind of those people. So sex, drugs, and rock and roll ain't the life right now. Like, it ain't. Like, let's just be honest. It's just the way it goes, right? But a band everybody lied about hating because, okay, anybody think about me, but I'm going to deny I like bands because I don't want to be called a pussy. You're a pussy. But a band I've been saying forever makes all the sense in the world, who's having another moment in the sun because their documentary just hit Netflix. It's been out for a while, but it just hit Netflix. And sure enough, the streaming numbers at iHeart are through the roof on them. And they've always been better than people said they were. I'm sorry, man. Pick up the phone. Call Chad in the here. They are. They are everything you're looking for. Big tough alpha buddy that they do. But guys like them more than they want to admit. And women love them. For the cycle Nickelback does, baby.
Oh my goodness.
Get their asses out there, dude. What are we doing here? They write the right kind of music for NFL. The pyro looks good. And you're not going to tell me they ain't got the hits. They got bigger songs. By the way, they got more hits than Usher has. Way more. Not close. Not close. Like, that's insane. So, like, the NFL team. But they are getting up there in years. I think they're still pretty good from the stage, but there might be a little like, geez, buddy, the crit kicker up there for Super Bowl halftime. I don't know, buddy. Right? Like, all right, fair enough. Nickelback's still young enough. They're still doing it. They're still releasing records, and the hits are the hits. And everybody knows who they are. Outside of Nickelback, AC/DC, I think the only other rock band right now that makes any sense whatsoever would be these guys for sure. I got another confession to make. That makes sense. Not that many other rock bands do. Now, what people are going to accuse me of doing is showing a little too much appreciation for the things that came before, and I'm a little older, and I'm aging, and all of that. When I heard that new Falling in Reverse song with Jelly Roll the other day, that could be a Super Bowl collab. I think Falling in Reverse is kind of getting where the industry kind of looks the other way on them, but fans don't necessarily. They're not my thing. But they do have some good songs, and I felt like that. But now that feels like a reach. It really does. Nickelback feels like, no, dude, that's who you go get. The Foo Fighters definitely, to me, feel like, no, that's who you go get for the Super Bowl. Welcome back to the Sanctuary Show. Just pulled out Never Again by Nickelback there, because we were talking about them a touch, because, you know, Miley Cyrus is being floated around as the Super Bowl halftime show. And every year, people say, oh, why can't always our turn, right? Like, I feel like America, it's not always our turn, but we did look it up last year, and it's been a little while. The hot format right now. It's not. Pop and country a little bit more so, right? As a matter of fact, going from pop to country, that's really the big thing right now. But I said Nickelback, I think, makes sense. They're having a resurgence now as their documentary it's been out for a while, but it was just put on Netflix not that long ago. I actually watched it.
How do they look like?
I gotta be honest with you, I didn't think enough of the documentary was about how much hate they got. They talked about it. It was woven throughout it, but it was like, it was set up as like, this is what this whole thing's about, and it's really just here's how we got started, right? It's kind of one of those. But it was an interesting examination into that. And right Chad overall. Because he is a workaholic. And again, people hate songwriters. I know. Chad Kroeger has written so many songs across multiple formats that you... I'm a little partial to bands like that. That era. Stain 2, Seether would be another one. Shinedown's another one a little bit. They were all coming into their own as I was starting my radio.
And also
I remember going to a friend's house. And having them ask me, dude, what's that song you guys have been playing all damn day? About how the guy can't make it as he's stealing stuff. Remind me. Like, there's records kind of flopped a little bit. They're going to have a hit with this one. And it was kind of one of those things. I feel like they fit the bill. AC/DC, Foo Fighters, you guys had a ton of suggestions on this too. We don't have enough time to get through all of those today. Maybe what we'll do is dig this Conference Cup, that on the 24th, Raintree Golf and Event Center. Your sign-up sheet, though, is at WRQK.com. Your next Rock the Bank $1,000 keyword. That happens with Teresa after 10 a.m. here on Rock 106. Aside from that, I'm done for the day. Not back live again until tomorrow. Stay safe out there. Be good to one another. And do, in fact, meet me here tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for Thursdays on Rock 106. Hopefully you have a decent afternoon, and hopefully we get Nickelback for the Super Bowl, and hopefully I see you around town.